And we're joined now by Alex Wilson. He's a London Assembly member for Reform UK and joins us just, well, about 20 minutes. I was worrying about my maths on a Tuesday morning. 20 minutes before a press conference in London where the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, is expected to make a whole slew of announcements regarding possible benefit changes that he wants to make and tax changes to, well, let's face it, try and steal some voters away from Labour. Very good morning to you, Alex.
Good morning. It's great to be on the show again.
Thanks for joining us. So, look, the announcement today, we understand, it's all been sort of, pre-released, is going to particularly involve, first up, basically reinstating the winter fuel allowance for all pensioners. How on earth will you afford that?
Well, as you said in your intro, there are three main things that we're looking to announce today. One is, as you say, restoring the winter fuel allowance, which has been a catastrophe for the government, politically, socially, economically. It's made life extremely difficult for the government. They as a whole, they dug themselves. And on the streets in the by-election that we've just won in Runcorn and the local elections, every day that we were out campaigning, this was one of the top issues that people were raising, and it's absolutely right that we respond to it. The government is potentially responding to it as well, although they obviously haven't clarified exactly how they're looking to do that and when. So we've taken the initiative and said we would, if we were in government now, we would restore the winter fuel allowance in full. The other announcements relate to working families. And when Nigel took over the leadership of the party last year, and over the last year that we've been building our brand and building our party, we made it founded on three very clear fundamental values of family, community and country. And we want to be the party that stands up for working families. So that means making it easier for people to work alongside having children. So releasing the two-child benefit cap. And also the third announcement is about reinstating a transferable tax allowance, which will make it easier for two parents to share their tax allowance. So what we fundamentally want to do at the heart of everything, our approach to the economy, is about making work pay, and it's by making work pay that we can make it worthwhile for people to go out and work and work and grow the economy.
The point of the transferable tax allowance between married couples, I assume that would apply if someone's not married but they've got a civil partnership as well, is it basically means that one half of you can probably afford to stay at home and be with the kids for a bit longer than otherwise many couples can afford to do. Now, we're told that one of the big issues there is about getting more people to have children, and we absolutely have a demographic crisis across the West and certainly in this country, and I've always thought the solution is, but actually the biggest issue for a lot of families is not the couples not having kids, it is settling down in the first place. People with huge student debt, they can't afford to buy a home. A lot of people want to wait until they've overcome a lot of the financial difficulties and bought a home before they want to settle down or even rent a home big enough to have a child. Shouldn't you be focusing in on that rather than the couples who are in work worrying about their tax allowance?
Yeah, you're right. That's another angle that we will have to look at. We have a housing crisis in this country because successive governments and councils of all political administrations have simply failed to deliver enough housing for rent, for purchase, all kinds of tenure, and that's something else that obviously a new government will have to deal with, and we're very much
okay. But if you say,
we have to remember why these things are being talked about in the first place. We've had a cost of living crisis. Now, what triggered that in the first place? It was a cost of lockdown crisis. It was a cost of government crisis. Governments, both Boris's government, Rishi's government, and now Keir Starmer's government, making decisions that are making it harder for working people to get on in life. So what we want to do, we want to incentivise work. It fits in with our wider narrative.
Hold on. You want to incentivise work? I'm all for incentivising work. How does getting rid of the two-child benefit cap incentivise work? By giving people an extra ability to get £3,455 a year of universal credit or child tax credit for extra for each child that they have. The only people eligible for this are basically people who don't work, or maybe one person in the family works a day a week. They're not going to pay their bills that way. So what you're actually doing is saying to people, go out to work, pay your taxes, worry about your bills, and now you're going to have to pay between you another basic $3.5 grand for people sitting on their backsides having another child. Sorry, in what way does that incentivise work and family?
Make it easier to cover childcare costs so you can then go back out to work. But look at it in the round.
No. Those people are already eligible for free childcare. That's rubbish.
It's about making it easier for everybody. And
no, it's not about me. No, Alex, that doesn't make it easier for working families, all of the millions of mums who are at work 6 months, 9 months, a year after their child is born, to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, pay their share of the rent, who are struggling to get by. Most of their income is going on the childcare. These are families who largely, almost entirely, don't work but have more than 2 children. Shouldn't the answer be, if you want to tackle child poverty, and we should absolutely want to do that, to say to those families, if you've got children, you should be paying for them yourselves and going out to work. And yes, that includes single mothers, single parents. I have friends and family who are single parents who have worked every single day of their child's life. Why should some parents be given a free handout to have more children, which most couples can't afford? Most people I know would have loved to have had either a second child or a third child or a fourth child, but they couldn't afford to. Why should those parents be struggling and working hard and paying taxes to fund people sitting on their backsides on benefits, getting more money from us?
As I said, we need to look at this in the round with our wider policy agenda of incentivising work.
That's not incentivising work.
So it makes sense for people to go out and work, and this will help with...
That means they get more benefits for not working. How does that incentivise work, Alex?
So look at it in the round.
I am looking at it in the round. How does that incentivise work?
We want to make it easier and more worthwhile for people to go out and work, and that includes families with children. And remembering why we have these issues, because we have a cost of living crisis, because we have a cost of energy crisis, a cost of government crisis, all these issues need to be looked at in the round. We're the only party that's serious about trying to do something.
Well, you say you're serious about it, and you're going to get rid of the two-child benefit tax, two-child cap on benefits. Let me read you a message I got from a very old friend of mine who's been working on the front line in benefits office for years, who deals with the people who don't, hands out the food bank vouchers and the like. And that message says, I see Labour are going to U-turn on this is about Labour going to U-turn on this, and you guys following suit are going to U-turn on the 2-child ruling, as if that's going to help child poverty. These people know, rude word, all. And then there will just be more children in poverty while the parents have more money to spend on gambling, drugs and takeaway food. You're right, it's insane. She works on the benefits counter. She deals with the people who are claiming these benefits, the people who come in and say, if I get a job or if I work an extra 2 days a week, how many benefits do I lose? Do you think she knows more about this topic than you or Nigel Farage or indeed the government?
As I said, we need to look at all of these issues.
Answer the question I've asked you.
One of these things, one of the aspects is about wanting to make it easier for people to have children, because we have a falling birth rate, and the other.
We should definitely be encouraging people who don't support their current children to have more children. Absolutely, that's a great idea.
We should be encouraging more families to have more children because we have a falling birth rate. The other party's solution to that is mass immigration. Now, we don't want to open the doors to mass immigration the same way the other two parties have done that. We need to bring forward the next generation. This is one way of helping them. But as I say, look at it in the round. Our other policies about tax, about working, about incentives, that's what we're trying to build an overall picture. And today is an announcement that very much looks at the issues that we've talked about today. But the wider agenda that we'll be setting in the run-up to the next general election is about making tax incentives so it makes work pay.
Yeah, that doesn't make work pay. I mean, you're either the party of the working class or you're the party of the benefit class. Pick one.
We're the party of working families.
Well, and the families who don't work but keep having kids and expect working families to work harder, pay more tax to pay for them. I mean, get that on a campaign poster and see how well it does.
Well, we'll see what Nigel announces shortly.
We will see. We will see.
10 minutes to go. I'm sure your colleagues will be equally challenging to him in that press conference as you have been to me today.
Alex was enjoying coming on the show 10 minutes ago, probably less so now, but it's always good to get you on the show. Robust answers, I appreciate that. Reform UK London Assembly member. Quick word from Tom Slater.
It's a striking shift for a party who I think previously were more in the kind of Thatcherite mould, sort of space.
They kind of got a mix and match, haven't they?
Also, because I think the other thing, if you look at public opinion, the sort of general view in relation to benefits has shifted a lot than it was in the kind of wake of 2010. I imagine partly because of how terrible an economic time it's been over that timescale, and how other issues have sort of leapfrogged the question of the welfare bill in terms of people's priorities. So it was quite clear is that they're reacting to that aspect of public opinion as well as just politically how to manoeuvre themselves vis-a-vis Labour.
I think people change their views because they're massively misinformed about how the benefits system
also
works.
Rather than necessarily believing it in themselves. That's one thing which could well be true.